Hey, greetings everybody. It's GleeCon back at you again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. Thank you for tuning in. On this show, we cover everything in the World of Warcraft universe. You probably know that, unless you're just jumping in Chapter 16 of a book. That'd be kind of weird. We're going to continue this book today with Chapter 16. This is Warcraft Durotan. It's a novelization from the film cinematographic universe. It's a prequel novel to the movie. We also cover a lot of the stuff in the game too. We are deep in Ungoro Crater with an Alliance completionist walkthrough of Classic Era. I was going to read this episode, this chapter on Monday, but I missed a record. I had a busy night watching some football and other fun stuff. And then last night I dropped an episode of the Patreon where I finished Sequence 4 on Assassin's Creed 2. So go ahead and check out the Patreon that I will link in the comments or the description of the episode if you want to see some of the stuff that we do on that channel and you want to support me there. Regardless, if you like whatever you see today, like, subscribe, and join in on the greater journey by being a member of this long-standing, over 1,600 episode show. For now, we're going to jump back into Chapter 16. On Chapter 15, basically, Gul'dan has reapproached the Frostwolf tribe, and now that Durotan is the leader, he's offered his ultimatum, or his kind of devil's bargain, one more time, and we are in the middle of considering that. I don't remember if I said it yet, but I can't let Cain's spirit be disappointed in me, so stay a while and listen. Chapter 16. No one, as it turned out, was happy with how the meeting with Gul'dan had gone. After the clan had eaten another meager meal of birds and rodents boiled in an earthenware pot that neither satisfied taste nor hunger, Durotan spoke with his advisors. Gia was livid at Gul'dan's disregard for the ritual. "It is ancient," she said, "sacred to all orcs. Who are we if we forget everything? He comes to our encampment with this talk of unity and leaves, unhindered after insulting us." It was more than the warlock's rudeness that was upsetting his mother, Durotan realized. The terrible strain had affected all of them. Gia, in particular, had lost so much since the last meeting with Gul'dan. Her mate, her home, the Frostwolf scrolls that were so old and fragile they had to be handled with exquisite care. No doubt they had gone up like kindling from the simple heat of the fire river as it consumed their village. Her identity and ability to contribute as both mate of the chieftain and lore keeper of the clan had been dealt devastating blows. It made Durotan's chest ache to see her so frustrated and uncertain. Gently he placed a large hand on her arm, pained to discover how fleshless it was. "You once said the dishonor is his," he reminded her. "We honored the rituals, mother. The shame is Gul'dan's alone to bear." "Shame it is indeed," Drekthar said, "and you showed wisdom, Durotan." He shook his head. "The darkness around him has only grown. I would have had grave misgivings have you decided to follow him." Durotan and Draka exchanged glances. "When I see him and hear him speak, I have an urge to throttle him," Orgrim muttered. "My fingers itch just thinking about doing so. But I wonder if perhaps—" He trailed off. "Speak, old friend," Durotan said. "Your bluntness is at the heart of you. I would hear all views." Orgrim looked at his chieftain. "We have struggled day to day, heartbeat to heartbeat," he said. "Your father met the challenge with faith that it would change. You have met it with cunning and innovation, and you have outsmarted it. So far." Durotan felt a prickle of unease. Beside him, Draka scowled. "Go on." "Before the River of Fire, we could plan, dry flesh and fish, store nuts and seeds. But now we have no nuts and seeds, and if we tried to dry fish for a later time, we would not eat at all. There is—" He groped for the word. Draka found it. "Immediacy," she said quietly. "Yes, an immediacy now that we did not have then. How much longer can we outsmart disaster? We hang on by the most slender thread of spider silk to existence. You and I both knew Kolgor. He would not lie. And he has faith in Gul'dan." Durotan did not answer at once. He turned to his wife. Garona had reached out to her, not to him. He would let her decide what she wished to share. "Draka," he said, "your knowledge of things beyond our experience has helped us. You have been a major reason why we have survived this long. There is much that Gul'dan said that was familiar to me because of you." Draka shook her head firmly. "He and I may both understand that orcs can work together," she said. "But it is the how of it that is as different as night and day." She paused, looking at them, measuring her words before speaking. I feel kinship with the slave Garona. We have never seen her like before. She must be a stranger to this place. I too have been alone among strangers. She lifted a hand to forestall their protests. You will tell me there is a difference. I was never forced to walk about on a chain, never owned. I have always been a frost wolf, and yes, this distinction is true, but I do know what it is like to be other. Garona has spirit, intelligence, and courage. She told me in the Draenei tongue that her master is dark and dangerous. Gul'dan dominates Garona. I feel he would dominate us all. Durotan looked from face to face in turn, at his mother's, drawn and tight, at Orgrim's, concerned and open, at Drek'Thar's, his sightless eyes focused on something Durotan couldn't see, and finally at his wife's. He would dominate us all. No beings who can think, who can feel, who can understand what is happening around and to them should be enslaved. We see how Gul'dan treats her. I believe you are right, wife, and I promise you all frost wolves will never be dominated. Our own spirits and the elemental ones as well reject this green orc and his promises. But even as he said those words and later lay with his mate in his arms, Durotan wondered if his decision was the right one. 6 days after Gul'dan's arrival and 2 days after a late spring snow, Durotan and his hunting party were returning to the encampment, empty-handed and frustrated. When he saw a small group of orcs assembled awaiting their return, he assumed the worst and urged the exhausted Sharptooth to hasten toward them. What has happened? He said. The orcs exchanged glances. Nothing yet, Nokrar said. Durotan looked at their faces. The orcs seemed determined but oddly furtive. No one but Nokrar would meet their leader's questioning gaze. Weariness draped Durotan like a cloak. If nothing has happened, he said, both we and our wolves require food, water, and rest. He made to ride past them, but Nokrar stepped into Sharptooth's path. It was a bold move, but contentious. We all require these things, chieftain, Nokrar said, and some of us think we know how to get them. Durotan was bone-weary. The fact that they had found no prey to bring back, not even a few birds to toss into a pot with old worm-chewed grain, sharpened his ire. He should have dismounted and asked Nokrar to walk with him, listen to his concerns, but Durotan suspected he knew well enough what they were. Unless the spirits have called you to their service, Nokrar, or you have a new method of finding game or harvesting food, you know all the ways that I know. Those who have spent the last 6 days tracking meat for you to eat should be allowed their rest, and Sharptooth is short-tempered. We want to join the Horde. So it had finally come. Durotan had been expecting this, but not quite so soon. Until now, aside from Nokrar's group, nobody in the bustling encampment had paid much attention to their returning hunting party, but he could see few heads turn at the word Horde. I know you want to be a good mate and father. Oh, I know you want to be a good mate and father, he said as kindly as he could manage. I know you fear for them. I have a little one on the way myself. After a fashion, the clan's people are also my children, and I have the same concerns for all of you. You know I will listen to all reasonable suggestions. Come to me later today when I am not so weary, and we will talk. Nokrar shifted his weight. Durotan also knew that Nokrar's family had been close to Grukag's. He had taken the deaths of Perzel and Marga hard, and Durotan suspected he still had not recovered fully. Have any of us recovered fully from what we have been through, he wondered. Will we ever, and should we ever? We think you chose wrongly, Nokrar said at last. He stuck his chin out and drew himself up to his not inconsiderable height. More frost wolves were wandering over, listening to the conversation. Durotan stared at Nokrar, unblinking, and straightened as well. I am your chieftain, Nokrar, he said, his voice low and dangerous. Tread carefully. Nokrar was impulsive and passionate. He had raised his voice before on behalf of his mate and younglings. Durotan wanted him to back down now, not simply for his own reasons, but for Nokrar's safety. Durotan was a patient orc, but even he would have to do something he had no desire to do if Nokrar persisted. But Nokrar could not see that. He tossed his hair out of his eyes and met Durotan's stare for stare. Let those of us who want to go depart. At least 24 frostwolves had gathered now. They watched both Durotan and Nokrar intently. More clan members emerged from their shelters and joined the crowd. And take precious food and supplies with you, only to be lost when you die within 7 suns. I am not so foolish as that. Durotan tried one last time, keeping his voice calm. Stay, Nukrar. I understand why you feel thus, and we can let us go, or... Nukrar stopped abruptly, as if only now when it was too late he realized what he had done. His eyes widened slightly. Quietly, Durotan asked, "What?" Nukrar swallowed. "Or I will challenge you to the Mak'gora." Durotan closed his eyes. "You just did." Okay, shorty chapter today. And you knew this was coming. In my mind, like, if I was a leader, I'd want to compromise. I'd say, like, okay, let's uproot the clan. Let's go down there. Let's find out where this Gul'dan's camp is, the horde is. Let's watch from the outside. Let's gather intelligence before we make a potentially disastrous decision. And let's discuss it as a clan. And table that talk for later. But, you know, things might be a little bit different in orc culture. And he's tired. I don't know in my most tired moment if I would think that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, listening, and joining in. We'll catch the next chapter of this book tomorrow. So we'll find out what happens with this old Mak'gora. For now, we got another episode in the pipe. 5x5.